Chapter 51. Straight. A student researching on AI. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su-Yang giggled when he heard people talking about him again. He felt great. As the three girls continued discussing, they noticed Su-Yang walking towards them. Hey, isn't he that busker? No way. I heard it was a student on our campus. Impossible. That busker was practically a professional singer. Su-Yang walked past them as if nothing happened, concealing his fame and name. Women were always the shortcut to collecting information. From the three girls, he learned why the university showed so much concern towards this campus singing competition. A second-tier artist had been invited as the judge. It should be a mini-event at first, but the exposure had increased overnight, so it might evolve into a large-scale event. However, why would someone as popular as Han Yi come all the way here to be a judge? This particular point still baffled Su-Yang. Rather than believing what the three girls said about some higher-ups being related to her, Su-Yang tended to believe there was another layer of truth, possibly some shady deals involving fame and profit. Ms. Yuan had not arrived yet when Su-Yang reached the classroom, but Chu Xia was already there. Her hair was pulled into a ponytail today. She wore a lemon-yellow short-sleeve T-shirt with all kinds of English alphabets on it. Su-Yang stared at them for quite a while but still could not understand what they meant. She coupled her T-shirt with cropped jeans with holes all over it. It made her look less tender and youthful, lending her a cool and experienced air. However, she was already beautiful, so whatever she wore seemed nice. Su-Yang did not greet her. He headed to the last row of the classroom and sat down. It was not because he felt awkward facing her after the little conversation about the singing competition but because Chu Xia was being surrounded by other students at the moment. They were talking about the singing competition and Su-Yang did not enjoy the chatter. As the class secretary, Chu Xia was also in charge of the singing competition, so she had access to more insider news than other students. Plus, she was quite approachable and easygoing, so it was only natural that all the students would go to her for some insider news. Su-Yang took his textbook out when he arrived at the last row. He hid himself behind the book and took out his phone, intending to check on the mobile data package. Similar to his English class, Su-Yang loved to sit at the back during advanced mathematics. However, unlike the English class, in which he sat behind because he did not understand a thing, he sat behind during advanced mathematics because he understood everything and was not bothered by the lecture. He scrolled his phone and checked for the mobile data package to subscribe to. Neither did Su-Yang ever play games on his phone nor did he stream or download any video. He only used his phone for finding information and part-time jobs, so he had been subscribing to a 1 GB mobile data package. Now, he had a new tenant in his phone who was a super heavy user. Dini. Su-Yang believed that he should get a package with more quota. After a while, he realized that all the mobile data packages were really expensive. The normal package with 1 GB of data cost 20 yuan. There were also unlimited packages but those cost 168 and 208 yuan respectively. The good thing about the unlimited data package was that it could be upgraded directly and he would gain access to the service right away. 168 yuan per month for a mobile data package. On top of that, once the quota exceeded 20 GB, the speed would decrease, so that would be far from enough. Su-Yang tapped his screen and typed in a message. Dini, how much data can you use up to in a month? I don't know. If I can simply surf the net, I guess 1 to 2 terabytes of data. My database is incomplete at the current stage, so I have to fill it by downloading and searching for various information. It might be more than that, she replied. Su-Yang was silenced by the astonishing figure. 1 to 2 terabytes worth of data, the system must have labeled her wrongly. This little girl doesn't destroy the world. She's destroying my wallet. A short thought later, Su-Yang replied, if I get you an unlimited data package, the speed will slow down to 100 kilobytes per second after the 20 gigabytes quota. Is that okay? I'm okay with anything you give me, Master, answered Dini. Su-Yang sighed at Dini's reply. I guess I'll get an unlimited data package first. I'll try to get broadband installed at home. Dini's appetite can only be satisfied with Wi-Fi. After he made the decision, Su-Yang bought an unlimited data package and registered for the installation of broadband. In less than 2 minutes later, the data package service came online. Dini was even more excited than Su-Yang when she received the message. Thank you, Master. Master, you're the best. Su-Yang smiled. Learn as much as you can and expand your database. I hope you can be my Jarvis in the future. Who's Jarvis? An AI for some man covered in an iron suit. Ooh. While Su-Yang was chatting with Dini, he suddenly felt the lighting above him grow dim. He instinctively looked up and saw the straight-a student, Li Runs, looking down at him. Su-Yang's typing fingers froze as he looked at Li Runs with a surprised expression and awkwardly greeted him, Hello. Li Runs said with a blank expression. Is the seat beside you taken? Su-Yang shook his head, so Li Runs sat down beside him, putting his bag down and taking out his book and notes. Su-Yang had a glance at the title of the book that Li Runs took out. It was TensorFlow Technologies, Analysis and Applications. Yeep, I don't understand a word. However, Su-Yang kept his curiosity in check and did not bother asking. He only wondered why Li Runs would read a different book in the advanced mathematics class. He looked around and realized that the advanced mathematics class was a small one today. No other classes joined them today. Of course, even if there were other classes joining them today, the Chinese literature class and the students from the Faculty of Information would never get together. Li Runs flipped the book to where he left his bookmark. He picked up his pen and started to take notes. Su-Yang stole a glance at the book again. The book was packed with handwriting. Su-Yang believed that the book would be twice as thick when Li Runs finished taking his notes. Maybe because he sensed Su-Yang's gaze, Li Runs asked without looking at him as he continued writing in his book, Are you interested in A.I.S2? Su-Yang almost choked on his own saliva. AIS. Did I expose Dini? Li Runs showed the book cover to Su-Yang. TensorFlow's predecessor is actually Google's Deep Learning Neural Network, DST-Belief. It's a symbolic math library that was widely used in all kinds of coding algorithms for machine-based learning, which also indicates artificial intelligence coding algorithms. Su-Yang felt a little dizzy when he heard all those English terms. He glanced at the book again, then asked Li Runs, Do you understand all that? Li Runs nodded without any reaction. What the school teaches is too shallow, so I've been self-studying. Compared to these alien languages and super-advanced technology, the school lessons are really a little shallow. Su-Yang had seen all kinds of programming skills developed by students during their university days, and he also saw many students who studied hard, but he had never really seen anyone researching AI. The term AI alone sounded like super technology. Judging from the notes that Li Runs had made in the book, he was at least at entry level and not just a simple hobbyist. Okay, I get it. You are super smart, so I'll stay away from you. Su-Yang buried his head behind his book, not wanting to feel inferior in front of Li Runs. Even though he and Li Runs had scored 198 marks respectively in advanced mathematics in the last semester, Su-Yang had scored 98 marks because he was smart, whereas Li Runs had scored 100 marks because he could only score that much in the paper. Su-Yang wanted to escape, but Li Runs did not want to spare him, so he asked, Do you remember that we have a lunch appointment on Monday? You promised me last week. Su-Yang was shocked. **T. This smart guy is serious. He wanted to invite me again because he didn't get to have lunch with me last week. What's he up to? We've only met each other twice, and my sexual orientation is normal. Chapter 52. Studying is important. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Su Yang thought about it for a while and did not reject Lee Run's right away. A straight-A student who was researching about AI.us felt like some supervillain material, so if Su Yang made him mad, he might invent some superweapon that could destroy the world. All Marvel villains shared a similar setting and motivation. Su Yang gulped nervously and carefully considered his words. What do you think about girls? Girls. Lee Run's glanced at Su Yang without showing any expression. Nothing special. They will mess up your books, mess up the codes that you've written, and during experiments, they will do all kinds of impractical things to disturb your life. Compared to girls, I like being around men. At least, men are more efficient, but, of course, it is only a comparison. Su Yang suddenly felt even more in danger. Has Lee Run's fallen for me, and will my backdoor soon be breached? With that terrifying thought in mind, he suddenly thought of Han Yi. Wait, didn't Mr. Smart Guy here show his love for Han Yi? What about Han Yi? You like her, don't you? Su Yang asked. Lee Run's pushed his glasses up slightly and showed a rare smile. Yes. She isn't your average girl. Su Yang instantly heaved a breath of relief. Thank goodness he still likes girls. She sings well. I like her voice, but I also like your voice, Lee Run's added. Wait. Can you not drag me into this? Su Yang was once again silenced. I actually got to you because of this. I think you sing quite well and your math is good. I believe we can be friends. We can talk about songs and math sometimes, Lee Run said. Su Yang saw the seriousness on Lee Run's face. He suddenly started to understand the straight-A student. Mr. Smart Guy here is probably too proud. He looks down on the average. Plus, with his strange personality, he might not have a lot of friends or none at all. His hobby must be studying, reading, and coding, while his only entertainment is probably listening to songs. He realizes I can sing and my maths is good. That's why he wants to take the first step to be my friend. With that in mind, Su Yang somehow stopped his messy and ridiculous thoughts and reached his hand out. Hi, let's reintroduce ourselves. I'm Su Yang. Lee Runs looked at Su Yang's hand blankly. A while later, his expressionless face revealed a faint smile. Hi, I'm Lee Runs. After officially befriending Mr. Smart Guy, Su Yang realized that becoming friends with someone as smart as Lee Runs actually had its benefits. At least, he could ask Lee Runs any questions and still get a reply. For example, Su Yang was not clear about the price of the installation of broadband in Shanghai, so Lee Runs filled the gaps in for him. According to Lee Runs, he would read magazines during his free time, and he somehow came across a comparison article about all the internet service providers' broadband packages in Shanghai. Su Yang simply believed what he said. However, he was also unclear about the pros and cons about general taxpayers and small-scale taxpayers, so he asked questions. Lee Runs also had the answer to that. He claimed that he read through corporate law during his free time and also had a certain level of understanding about corporate legal procedures. However, when Lee Runs revealed that he also knew which river had the least population and how much water flowed through it, Su Yang was completely silenced. Brother, how can you even know all that from reading? What kind of books are you reading anyway? I guess this lesson tells us how important it is to study hard. Work harder, brothers. After talking to Lee Runs for almost halfway through the lecture, Su Yang no longer suspected his sexual orientation. In fact, he started to suspect Lee Runs was not a human being. Lee Runs looked more like an AI. Compared to Dini. He knew almost everything and barely showed any expression. On the other hand, Ms. Yuan had been lecturing at the podium in front. Halfway through the lecture, she could no longer tolerate Su Yang and Lee Runs talking between themselves in the last row. Both Su Yang and Li Runs were her best students, but even her best students should not be talking during her lecture. On top of that, one of them had said that advanced mathematics was simple in his friend's circle and the other one liked the status. They obviously looked down on advanced mathematics. As a lecturer in advanced mathematics, Ms. Yuan was always a force to be reckoned with and a presence that the students feared, so she had never received such insults before. She called Su Yang out. Present. Su Yang stood up when his name was called. Ms. Yuan rapped on the blackboard on which there was a typical function limits question. Answer. Su Yang thought for a while and said, it should be a equals 0.1. Ms. Yuan checked the answer and realized that it was correct. What? Is his brain a calculator? Can he count function limits with his head? She switched her gaze to Li Runs. She hesitated for a bit but eventually called him out. Li Runs, solve the next question. Su Yang glanced over at the question on the blackboard. It was also a function limits question but was much harder than his own as the question alone was a lot longer than his question. Li Runs stood up without showing any expression and walked to the blackboard. He picked up the chalk and started writing as if he did not even need to think about the question. In 30 seconds, half the blackboard was filled with the solution. He put the chalk down and said, Miss, I'm done. Ms. Yuan was in awe. She cleared her throat to hide her awkwardness. Okay. You two have really studied hard on function limits. Li Run said with a blank expression, you actually don't need to study this. If you know the formula, you can simply solve it. Ms. Yuan and the rest of the class were silenced instantly. As Ms. Yuan slammed her lecture notes on the desk, her chest heaved ceaselessly. It was obvious that she could not communicate properly with this student who barely had any EQ. Suddenly, a thought popped into her mind. Wait, something isn't right. You are a student of the Faculty of Information, so what are you doing in the class of the Faculty of Arts? Li Run's expressionless face immediately turned sour. Ms. Yuan seized the opportunity to counterattack and asserted, get out right now. Don't disturb the other students while they are learning. Yes, Ms. Yuan. Defeated, he returned to his seat and started to pack his stuff. He also whispered to Su Yang, I'll wait for you next door. He then left the classroom. Ms. Yuan was not mad at Li Runs, but she was the lecturer, so she had to retain her dignity as one. Besides, the classes with Li Runs always pressured her and mentally exhausted her. Li Runs was more or less like Su Yang. They never listened to the lecture and always buried themselves behind their books. Unlike Su Yang, who always minded his own business and dared not disturb the lecture, Li Runs was good at multitasking. He might be reading his book during the lecture, but he was actually listening to the lecture as if he was monitoring how Ms. Yuan conducted her lecture. She never dared to tell Li Runs to stop reading during her class, but whenever he put his book down, her heart would skip a beat because she knew that she must have made a mistake in the lecture. The pressure from Li Runs was even bigger than the dean himself attending the lecture. Without Li Run's presence, the lecture continued on smoothly. After the class, Su Yang tidied up and prepared to go to lunch with Li Runs. Right after he stood up, Chu Xia walked over and greeted him, Hey, Mr. Big Star. What's up, Ms. Busy Woman? Chu Xia giggled like a blossoming flower. Did you know that the organizer is inviting Han Yi to our school to be a judge for the singing competition? Su Yang nodded. I heard, but if you are here to persuade me to join, I'll still give you the same answer. Not really interested. Chapter 53. Han Yi's past. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chu Xia was a little confused. Don't you want to see her up close? Isn't Han Yi popular among the guys? Su Yang spread his hands open. Maybe I'm not that kind of guy, or maybe those who like her didn't send me an invitation. Right before Chu Xia could continue, a thought popped into Su Yang's mind. Oh right, speaking of Han Yi, do you want to get to see her up close? Chu Xia squealed softly, do you know her? Su Yang shook his head. I don't, but I have a way to get close. What do you say? Interested. Chu Xia was in deep thoughts before she hesitated, sounds too good to be true. It's both true and good, but the slots are full. If you really want to go, I'll get a spot for you, said Su Yang. Chu Xia put her fair hand out. Deal. I'll owe you lunch. Su Yang smiled and shook her hand. Why not lunch and dinner? She softly kicked him with her slender long legs. You greedy little bee ****. Su Yang chuckled as he dodged. Being greedy means that I've grown up. While the two of them were fooling around, Li Runs came in from next door. He looked at the two of them with a blank expression. The duo instantly felt like they had been caught red-handed while having an affair. Chu Xia whispered to Su Yang, remember my spot. She then quickly fled the scene. After Chu Xia left, Li Runs walked up to him. He stared at her with a cold gaze as she left and said to Su Yang, women will only affect our judgment and thoughts. They will disturb our studies and experiments. If it isn't necessary, I suggest you stay away from them. How can it not be necessary? Humans need to reproduce, so male and female contact is inevitable. How unnecessary can it be? Of course, Su Yang did not express his thoughts verbally. After talking to Li Runs for half a class, he believed that Li Runs would certainly find countless reasons to prove that women were not necessary for human reproduction. Su Yang was rather lazy, so he did not want to discuss the topic, and besides that, he was afraid that he would get caught because of the indecent speech. The two of them headed to the canteen for lunch. During lunch, Li Runs no longer talked about mathematics with Su Yang anymore. Instead, he started to talk about Han Yi. He buried himself in his bowl of rice and said without any emotions in his voice, are you also Han Yi's fan? Su Yang shook his head but nodded right away, I guess I am. If you are, you are. If you're not, you're not. What do you mean by that? Li Runs asked. I recently heard of her and her name sparked my interest, but I'm not very familiar with her, said Su Yang. Li Runs glanced at him as though he wanted to say something, but he rubbed his chin instead. His eyes behind his glasses showed that he was in deep thought. He started to mumble gibberish by himself. As expected. Everyone's understanding of society is just superficial and is easily affected by the people around them. From there, one might wrongly assume that the majority of the people in the world are the same as oneself. But most of the people that one knows shares a similar class, educational background, and job. That might be why one's knowledge of the world is limited to surface level. Su Yang stared at Li Runs who stopped eating. His mouth was mumbling ceaselessly, so Su Yang waved in front of his face. What are you doing? Li Runs regained his senses and shook his head with his blank expression. Nothing. He ate a few mouthfuls of rice blankly as if the one who had mumbled gibberish was not himself. Su Yang started to label Li Runs as a social killer in his heart. After a few more mouths of rice, Li Runs put down his chopsticks and wiped his mouth. I'll briefly tell you about Han Yi. Su Yang was chewing as he looked at Li Runs. He was curious about what Li Runs would say. Before Han Yi entered the entertainment industry, she was an amazing athlete. She had been swimming ever since she was young and won a lot of competitions. When she was 12, she joined Beijing's swimming team, and then the national swimming team at 13. However, as she grew older, puberty struck. You should know that a swimmer wears a tight swimming suit to reduce the resistance in the water, but Han Yi grew up too well. The tight swimming suit only made her body stand out and people started to say that she did it for the publicity. Her photos taken during the competition were even pixelated by her haters. So, she quit the swimming team at 16 and started practicing ballet. From there, she joined the entertainment industry and was cast in her first television drama, Carrot Love. She was only the supporting actress, but because of her, it became the most popular drama that year. Lee Runs drank some water before he took his phone out and showed Soo Young the pictures of Han Yi during the filming. The supporting actress's character was lively, humorous, and likable, whereas the main actress's character was like a pretentious B***tch. That's why her popularity surpassed the main actress's. After that, she joined the music industry and her new song reached the top spot in the Q Music ranking easily. You can say that she's the best example of succeeding in everything you do. Soo Young quietly listened to Han Yi's introduction. After Lee Runs finished, for whatever reason, there was only a single thought in Soo Young's mind. Mr. Smart Guy even knows the term pretentious B***tch. He's really a social. I mean well-informed. Besides that, Soo Young might have found out why Lee Runs liked Han Yi. It was probably because of Han Yi's multiple identities and her success in everything that she did. As expected, the girl that Mr. Smart Guy likes is no ordinary girl. After lunch, Soo Young received a call from the company registration agent. The registration had been approved and Soo Young was told to retrieve his company documents, company stamp, and other miscellaneous stuff. He told Lee Runs that he had to leave, but the latter obviously had a lot more to talk about. When he noticed Soo Young standing up and wanting to leave, he became moody and quiet. A moment later, he squeezed a suggestion from his mouth, "I'll go with you." "Don't you have to study today?" asked Soo Young. Lee Runs shook his head. "I have to, but I'll bring my books and read along the way. I'm actually training myself to read wherever I am. I want to learn how to ignore the disturbance around me and concentrate on my studies. There was once a great man who trained himself." "Stop. You don't have to quote some meaningful stories whenever you speak," said Soo Young. Lee Runs shut his mouth dully. Since Lee Runs wanted to tag along, Soo Young could only agree. Thankfully, Lee Runs was knowledgeable, so Soo Young could talk to him about his company and ask for his opinion as reference. Moreover, Lee Runs was a student from the Faculty of Information. Not only did he know how to code, but he was also researching on AI. If Soo Young could recruit this godly person into his company, he might be able to push the company to an advantageous position. Chapter 54. Another Random Mission. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. When Soo Young arrived at the administration bureau of the Baoshan district, the agent was already there waiting for him. The agent brought Soo Young to his office and gave Soo Young a bag of documents. Inside the bag were the license for operating the business, both the original and the copy, the letter to open a bank account, the company stamp, and a series of miscellaneous documents. Soo Young took them out for a quick check while the agent explained beside him, "The government has combined 3 licenses into one, so there will be no organization code certification and tax certifications. Whatever the company does, all you need is a business license. On top of that, there are 3 kinds of stamps here. The enterprise stamp, the legal stamp, and the invoice stamp. These 3 are the common ones, and if you have the need, you can apply for a finance stamp or a contract stamp." Soo Young went through the documents and took a glance at Lee Runs, who nodded. Then, Soo Young put his hand out and said, "Thank you very much." The agent also shook Soo Young's hand. He added, "Since you guys are a startup, I don't think you have a specific finance department. Do you need bookkeeping services? It's only 800 yuan a month. I'll even give you a discount of 9,000 yuan a year." Before Soo Young could say anything, Lee Runs gently pulled Soo Young's sleeve, so he immediately understood what it meant. He smiled and said, "Thank you. Can I have your name card? I'll think about it when I get back." The agent nodded and gave Soo Young his name card. "Please contact me, Manager Lon, if there's anything." "Thank you." After they were out of the administration bureau, Soo Young looked at Lee Runs. The two of them might not have known each other for long, but they understood each other tacitly as if it was something smart people like them shared. Lee Runs explained dully, "As a startup, if the numbers in your accounting aren't much, you don't need to get a proxy to do bookkeeping. Even though the government requires companies to audit their accounts every season, those agents will only do it once a year for you. So, if you have the money, you might as well keep the accounts neat and tidy. Then, you can get a part-time accountant at the end of the year to settle everything together. Su Yang looked at Li Runs. Do you know that from reading books too? Li Runs shook his head. My mother is an accountant. No wonder. If Li Runs knew all these details from reading, he would really be godlike. Li Runs pushed his glasses up slightly and said, if you trust me, I can help you find a suitable accounting at the end of the year. Su Yang patted his shoulder. I'll thank you in advance. Li Runs nodded blankly before he asked, what's your startup doing now? Su Yang did not keep it a secret since he had to start promoting his company on campus in 2 weeks. Part-time jobs for students. I'm offering part-time offers to the students on campus. Li Runs thought for a while, which was rare for him, before he said, the threshold for this kind of company is a little low. If you can make it, what are you going to do next? Expand to the entire part-time market. Su Yang smiled as he shook his head. No. I have a very clear goal for my company. I'm only concentrating on the students, and the reason I'm starting with this small project is that I want the students to be my first batch of clients. Suddenly, a realization hit Li Runs and it was apparent on his face. I now understand what you are trying to do. You can try. He then drew an alphabet in the air with his finger. Su Yang saw what Li Runs draw and he knew that Mr. Smart Guy really knew what he wanted to do. BDNV. Truth be told, Su Yang did not really believe this world had geniuses. After all, in other people's eyes, he himself was considered a genius. However, he knew he was not a genius. He was just a little smarter. No matter which subject he took, he actually had to spend time studying and practicing over and over again. The reason why others barely saw him studying was that when he really read, he would get addicted. He might be able to finish the textbook before the lecturer even reached half of it. After he met Li Runs, Su Yang only believed that there were geniuses in this world. All he did was hint about what he wanted to do and Mr. Smart Guy immediately got it. Su Yang gave Li Runs a big thumbs up and the latter also gave him a subtle smile. After Su Yang got the company stamp and the documents, the two of them found a place to sit down and continue talking about the company. It was at that moment that a beep sounded in Su Yang's head. Beep. New random mission. Ha! A new random mission. It had been days since he accepted a random mission, so he was slightly surprised when the beep sounded in his head. He opened the mission description in his head. Mission description. Help a passerby solve her problem. It was similar to the mission whereby he had to save Chu Xiaomeng. The target was a girl wearing sunglasses. She had long wavy hair that extended all the way to her waist and she was rifling through her pockets nervously. Su Yang glanced over at Li Runs. He took out his phone and pretended that he had received a message from WeChat. After some meddling with his phone, he looked at Li Runs. Something has come up. I have to take care of it. Do you? Li Runs nodded blankly. It's fine. I'll go back to the campus. He then stood up and left without any hesitation. His action matched his character as he was never indecisive. Su Yang heaved a breath of relief before he sprinted towards the mission location. This was just a normal random mission. He had completed similar missions many times in the past month, and most of them were just helping people out or saving them from some sticky situation like that time with Chu Xiaomeng. Of course, most of the targets were women. Su Yang was clueless about whether the ladies tended to get in danger more often or if the system was trying to become a matchmaker other than making him perform good deeds. Was the matchmaker a hidden function? Ever since he saved Chu Xiaomeng, this type of random mission had never appeared again. He believed that the people around him must be safe or did not run into any trouble. Now, he finally ran into someone who was in trouble. After he arrived at the mission location, Su-young scanned around and quickly locked on to the mission target. The girl was not tall by any means, but her body proportions were amazing and they made her look tall. She was wearing a white batwing-sleeved shirt with a high-waisted short skirt. The shirt was tucked into her skirt, exposing her two long legs and slim waist. Her voluptuous body would surely leave an impression on people. The strange thing was she was wearing a pair of glasses with a red frame. It looked like she came from a costume party or was going to one. However, the simple and slightly strange fashion choices matched her perfectly. It made her look unusually fashionable. Su-young sized the girl up. He believed that it was related to the girl's temperament. As if she was a walking sun, emanating liveliness and brightness, she would turn heads wherever she went. This was the other type of temperament Su-young felt from her. She was a girl with a strong presence. The girl, however, was nervously searching her pockets and her bag. Her ridiculous glasses slid off her face slightly and revealed her petite and delicate face. She looked rather familiar. Chapter 55. Does your phone Massachusetts produce? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Little chick, 1, where's my phone? Where did it go? Muttered the girl as she searched her bag. Su-young walked up to her after he spotted his target. Hi, did something happen? To his surprise, she did not answer him. She glanced at Su-young cautiously instead before she took a step back, turned around, and continued searching her bag. Su-young was a veteran in dealing with situations like this. Many times in the past, the targets were cautious of him, so he already had his own way of dealing with it. Usually, during troubled situations like this, a girl would not simply accept help from strangers as she would be afraid of running into some bad people or people with ulterior motives. Therefore, Su-young's plan was to state his ulterior motives clearly. I was around the corner and I saw that you seemed to be troubled. If I can help you in any way, buy me a cup of bubble tea or we can exchange contacts. What do you say? The girl then turned around to Su-young. She hesitated for a moment and said, Can you lend me your phone? Su-young took Dini out and gave it to her. Here. Given how smart Dini was, she would not expose herself. The girl quickly dialed a number after she took Dini. The call got through and the girl pointed at the side, indicating to Su-young that she wanted to talk privately for a moment. Su-young signed OK with his hand and the girl stepped aside. Some distance later, she started talking with her hand over her mouth and blabbered into the phone. Judging from her body language, she was agitated and offended. She looked like a totally different person from before. The call went on for a full 5 minutes. The girl then heaved a long breath before she returned to Su-young. The sweet expression on her face came back, and this time, she was much friendlier towards him. Thank you very much. It's nothing. The girl handed Dini back to Su-young, and in the process, she got a good look at the phone and was surprised. Ha! Your phone looks really beautiful. It's thin and light, and it's even got a full screen. Su-young took Dini back. He put her into his pocket and smiled. It's a product of my friend's company. The girl showed a little interest. Is it mass-produced? How much is it? Su-young shrugged. Not at the moment, so this is the only one. The girl sighed. The local phones are really getting good. I've lost my phone. Maybe I should ditch Apple once and for all. After Su-young heard what she said, he seized the moment and asked, Has your phone been stolen? Maybe because Su-young had helped her earlier, she was less cautious than before. She sighed and said, I think so. I don't mind losing the phone, but I have a lot of private information inside. I'm afraid something might go wrong. I'm not a local. I came to Shanghai for some business and am leaving tomorrow. So, I just called my friend to ask her to lock my phone in the meantime. Su Yang thought about it for a moment. The system had yet to notify him about completing the mission, so the mission must be far from over. BVEC, I knew it. Lending her my phone was a little too simple. It seems like I need to help her get her phone back. With that in mind, he told the girl, hold on for a moment. I'll make a call and see what I can do. The girl lowered her sunglasses. A pair of lively eyes stared at Su Yang. Can you get it back? Her pair of eyes felt really familiar, as if Su Yang had unintentionally seen them somewhere else before. I can't be sure. I'll have to ask first. After that, Su Yang copied the girl's action and stepped aside. He made a call to Old Sixth Lu. Old Sixth Lu was playing mahjong at the mahjong center. There were two other familiar guys with him at the table who were the gangsters that Su Yang had beaten up the other day. The shorter one was opposite Old Sixth Lu. He drew a tile and peeked at it before putting it out. Little chicken. After that, he said, Brother Six, why is your left eye black again? Old Sixth Lu drew a tile, peeked at it, and sighed. Let's not talk about it. 2 days ago, I lost my wife Sivan. I searched for that little thing for a whole night and I found him, but I still got beaten up by my wife. The fat gangster beside Old Sixth Lu giggled. Brother Six, your wife is so beautiful. Does she really beat you up? I don't really believe it. Old Sixth Lu chuckled helplessly. You haven't seen her mad. She can punch a marble table into half easily. The fat gangster shuddered. Brother Six, it sounds like you are exaggerating. Old Sixth Lu pouted. Exaggerating? What am I exaggerating about? I once saw her beat 5 men up by herself in the martial arts club. In less than 1 minute, all 5 of them were knocked out. If I weren't afraid of her killing me when I mention a divorce, I would have long divorced her. 4 men sat around the mahjong table, chatting about how fierce Old Sixth Lu's wife was. It was then that Old Sixth Lu's phone rang. Old Sixth Lu picked it up and saw Su Yang's number. His face turned black immediately. This kid is my bane. I've finally recovered from getting beaten up for a week, but when he came up to me to top up his phone, I lost the dog and got beaten up by my wife again. Old Sixth Lu was agitated and wanted to reject the call. Then, the fat gangster beside him stole a glance at the caller ID. He cleared his throat and reminded Old Sixth Lu, Brother Six, this kid is ominous. If you don't answer his call, what if he comes to you instead? Right, that how could I forget about that? This kid. With that in mind, Old Sixth Lu grumpily answered the phone. Hello, Brother Six, are you free for a chat? Su Yang's voice came from the other side of the phone. Old Sixth Lu grunted as a reply. Have you eaten? Yep. Great. I have something to ask you. Do you know the leader of the pickpockets around Starlight Avenue? Old Sixth Lu's eye started to twitch. Why do you want to know? Oh, it's nothing, my friend's phone got pickpocketed, so I was planning to have a talk with the leader, Su Yang said nonchalantly. Old Sixth Lu went silent for a moment before he said, I don't know any. Brother Six, how can you be like this? You aren't being generous enough. I just want to meet some new friends. Come on, introduce me. If you don't, I'll come and talk to you instead. Veins started to pop out on Old Sixth Lu's forehead. This kid is F*King threatening me. This is a blatant threat. Old Sixth Lu squeezed the answer out through his gnashing teeth, Su Yang. I'm warning you. This is a society governed by law. Don't you think you can go above the law just because you can fight? Su Yang chuckled. Brother Six, look at you. What are you talking about? I'm a triple.virtue student. I speak good, do good, and think good. Why would I be fighting? Fighting is against the law, but so is stealing. Old Sixth Lu grunted coldly, if it's against the law, go and make a police report. Let's see if the police can help you find your stuff. Brother 6, do you believe I can stab you 20 times and the police won't even know it's me? Old Sixth Lou clenched his teeth tightly. He did not believe it, but he was still scared. This little B** starred is really a gangster. He might really stab me. Old Sixth Lou heaved a long and heavy breath. Tell me what your friend is wearing today. Thank you, Brother 6. 1. Little chicken here is a slang for the tile a single bamboo. Chapter 56. I saved an actress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Su Yang told old Sixth Lou how the girl dressed and looked like, he hung up on the call with a smile on his face. These street gangsters. A little scare will make them jump in line. As for whether Su Yang had the ability to stab old Sixth Lou 20 times and escape without being noticed or not, it was just a bluff. He was not an idiot who would risk his future just because of a random mission. Sometimes, a person's capability was not determined by what a person could do but by how much others believed in the person. Old Sixth Lou obviously believed that Su Yang would do it. 10 minutes later, he sent Su Yang a message. The phone is at Risen beside Michael. Password is 028313. Settled. Case closed. Su Yang returned to the girl after he got the text. Let's go. I'll bring you to retrieve your phone. The girl looked at him in surprise. You found it. Su Yang smiled joyfully. Most probably, yeah. Thrilled, the girl did not expect this outcome at all. Based on old Sixth Lou's text, they headed to Risen Locker Service next to Michael Mall. Su Yang keyed in the password, and a second later, a locker opened. He went over and saw a phone inside. Behind the phone was the imprint of the signature Apple logo. The Apple iPhone was getting more and more expensive lately, with each phone costing more than 10,000 yuan. This girl must be rich. He took the phone out and gave it to the girl, who then pressed the power button, skillfully keyed in her password, and unlocked it. A tiny click later, the phone was unlocked. She heaved a breath of relief and said, "This is it." She put her phone into her pocket and thanked Su Yang repeatedly. Thank you. Thank you so much. You are really a good person. Did I just get good guy zoned. However, Su Yang had gotten used to it. Almost every girl that he had saved in the past month reacted the same way. Therefore, he waved his hand politely. It's nothing. Try to be mindful of your bag next time and be careful of pickpockets. You can't find a good guy like me everywhere nowadays. The girl nodded repeatedly. She then took her phone out again. Can you give me your WeChat contact? I'll thank you when I get back. Su Yang's only strength was probably his practicality. Since the girl said she wanted to thank him, he might as well leave his contact behind. But why doesn't she thank me right away? Maybe she's not that sincere. However, Su Yang did not help her for money. It was for the sake of his random mission, so he was not overly bothered. He took his phone out and showed her his WeChat QR code. The girl aligned her phone camera at his QR code and took a picture instead. Kachak. Thank you. I'll add you when I get back. Su Yang was rendered speechless by how insincere she was being. Whatever. As long as you are happy. He already labeled the girl as a strange and stingy one in his heart, but he was used to not getting reimbursed after doing a good deed, so he waved at her. If that is all, I'll be on my way. He wanted to turn away from the stingy girl, but she held him back. Oh right, what's your name? Su Yang was caught off guard by the question. Su Yang. I'm Jia Li. Jia Li. Is there anyone with the family name Jia in our country? Su Yang found it surprising. With a smile, she said, of course, there is. It's just a little rare. Su Yang nodded. It really is rare. He had never heard of the family name before. It sounded more like the English name, Carrie. The conversation ended right there. Su-young parted ways with the girl and left via the sidewalk, taking the subway back to his basement. Since it was not rush hour, Su-young found a seat in the subway. Right after he sat down, his phone vibrated in his pocket. He took it out and saw a message from Dini. "Master, now I know the more beautiful a woman is, the better she lies." Su-young felt like he had heard the line before somewhere. "What have you been surfing in my pocket? That I've read all of Jin Yong's novels." "No wonder. Why do you say so?" "Who's lying?" asked Su-young. Dini replied, "Jia Li." "What about her? What did she lie about?" Dini then replied with an emoji that indicated, "Even if you beg, I won't tell." This little girl learns really fast. She can even reply with emojis now, he thought to himself. "Tell me." Dini did not try to be cute anymore since Su-young asked her so seriously. She briefly told him what really happened earlier. "She made a call using me, didn't she? And I know what she talked about in the phone call. Her real name isn't Jia Li but Lin Jia. The one she called was her manager. I've searched the internet and found out that those who have managers are mostly actresses or singers. Is she lying to you or what?" Lin Jia. An actress. Su-young immediately searched the name and realized that she really was an actress. Judging from the amount of information, she was not some small fry either. She was quite popular and even had her own wiki page in Baidu. Su-young tapped Lin Jia's wiki page and learned that she had been cast in many television dramas such as the new Dream of the Red Chamber, the new Legend of the Condor Heroes, Concubine Tales, and so on. She was cast as the supporting actress, and last year, she was also cast as the main actress in Carrot Love, a small-budget urban love story. The series made a gamble with a small amount of capital and eventually became the most popular television series last year. Holy sh*t. This isn't just any small fry anymore. She's at least a tier 2 or 3 actress. Su-young felt like he was dreaming as he recalled how close he was to a popular actress just now. He even thought that she had lost her phone. If I had known who she is earlier, should I have asked for more benefits? Why didn't I bring my taxi receipt today? If I knew I was going to save an actress, I would have brought the 200 yuan taxi receipt from Tang Xiaomi. Su-young hated himself for the missed opportunity. But Lin Jia did ask for my WeChat and said that she will contact me later. Maybe I'll really get something in return. Su-young immediately felt better when he thought about it. He continued scrolling through Lin Jia's wiki page. 2 more pages later, something caught his attention and he quickly swiped the page up. Ha! The main actress of Carrot Love. Nanny. No wonder she looks so familiar. She's that pretentious B*tch that Li Run's mentioned just now. Wait, that I should say she's the one acting as the pretentious B*tch. I guess it's really fate for me and this drama series. This Saturday, I'm bringing fake fans to support Han Yi, the supporting actress of this drama, and I just met the main actress Lin Jia today. Speaking of actresses, are these 2 ladies rivals? Or nemesis? Su-young was pondering about it. Under normal circumstances, when the supporting actress gained more popularity than the main actress in a drama series, no matter how generous the main actress was, the 2 could never be friends. He nodded in silence. Sounds entirely possible. However, when he pictured the scene of the 2 actresses getting into a catfight, he somehow looked forward to it. It seemed like things were unfolding in an interesting direction. Chapter 57. The start of Han Yi's fan event. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After he got home, Su-young put Dini on the desk. It was then that Dini suddenly said, "Master, you have a new friend request on WeChat." Ho ho. Did she really add me? I thought Lin Jia was trying to avoid adding my WeChat. He picked up his phone and tapped the WeChat app. A new friend was displayed in his friend list on WeChat. The display picture was a cat while the person's name was Carrie, and the remark below it was, "I am Jia Li. Carrie, Jia Li. Now I see, Lin Jia didn't tell me a fake name. It's the Chinese pronunciation of her English name. So can I call her Lin Jili next time?" With that in mind, Su Yang accepted the friend request. He then added a remark on the name. Lin Jili. It was much friendlier to Su Yang compared to Carrie. "You have added Carrie and can start chatting now." After he accepted the friend request, he put his phone aside and wanted to take a bath. He had been busy for a whole day and his body was sticky and dirty from all the sweat. After a comfortable bath, Su Yang came out of the bathroom and Dini reminded him again, "Master, Lin Jili has sent you a ton of messages." Su Yang picked his phone up. Transfer notifications spammed the chat window with Lin Jili. "Transferred to you 666 yuan, transferred to you 666 yuan, transferred to you 666 yuan, 666 yuan." Transfers made Su Yang's eyes a little moist. My, it's too kind of you. It's really nothing. Helping you is really just out of convenience." He then accepted the transfers one by one. After he received the money, Su Yang cleared his throat and feigned a solemn look. He typed his reply. "Thanks." Lin Jili replied with a cute cat emoji. "It is I who should thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been able to get my phone back." Su Yang tried to act cool, but he was the only person in his basement. "It's nothing." Lin Jili did not reply after that and Su Yang did not continue the conversation either. Since she had already paid him, she was not obliged to continue the conversation. However, Su Yang basically understood why Lin Jili did not add his WeChat on the spot or tell him her real name. She was an actress, after all, so she could not afford to expose her true identity. This account with the cat picture was probably her sub. Account. Su Yang tapped on Lin Jili's friend circle. All the pictures she posted were about cats and sentimental quotes. There was not even a picture of herself or any kind of information that would give her identity away. It seemed like the sub. Account was just a channel for her to vent her emotions and was barely used. Most of the statuses she posted on the account were criticisms about some television drama or movies. The most common ones would be, "XXX can't act. I can do better," and "Photoshopped. Can you be more professional?" Those who did not know her real identity would probably treat this account as a girl who liked to watch drama series and movies. Only Su Yang knew that she was actually an actress and all the statuses she posted were probably her true thoughts. While investigating Lin Jili's friend circle, a new notification popped up on his WeChat. Su Yang did not leave the friend circle. Instead, he asked, "Dini, who is it from?" "It's a message from Lin Jili," Dini answered. "Ha! She's messaging me again." Su Yang tapped on the message. "I saw your post on your friend circle that you're going to meet Han Yi. Are you her fan?" Su Yang was silenced by the message from Lin Jili. "TSK, I forgot my first status was about Han Yi." Su Yang believed that he had gotten himself into a life and death situation. How should he reply? At that moment, a pop-up window appeared. It was Dini. "Master, do you need me to start the fondness assisting system?" Su Yang was surprised. "When did you have such a system?" She answered. "I read a lot of comics online and most of them have similar systems." "What kind of comics are you reading?" "Delete them." "Wait, before you delete them, send me a copy, and you aren't allowed to read this kind of comics anymore." Dini replied with a pouting emoji. "Okay." Su Yang decided to stop Dini from simply surfing the internet from now on. She was still in her learning phase, so he should not let the unhealthy stuff on the internet affect her growth. "I must filter all the websites, comics, and novels that she reads next time." 10 seconds later, Su Yang saw the link to the complete series of President Fondness System in his mailbox. He was completely speechless after he checked it out. What kind of comic is this? Where are the H.rated comics? Whatever. This president comic isn't something good either. I'll just stop her from reading it. However, after Dini's quips and jokes, Su Yang got an idea. He typed in his reply and sent it. Not really. There's an event with her that I'm attending, so I asked about who she is in my friend circle. I didn't know who she was before this. I just learned that she's an artist after searching her name online. This message obviously made Lin Jilly happy. She replied with a cute cat emoji and said, I don't like her either. Yup. An actual catfight is going to happen soon. Su Yang smirked in delight as he thought to himself. He still had to act cool in front of Lin Jilly though, so he responded, why? I noticed that a lot of my friends like her. Lin Jilly did not reply to the last message. Maybe she became busy or she did not want to talk about Han Yi. Su Yang did not care either since he had already gotten the random point and the extra prize money. Yes, he was a Philistine. In the next few days, Su Yang returned to studying hard while preparing for Han Yi's event. He also emptied out some time to install the broadband router in his basement. As for Han Yi's event, he finally finalized the 100 candidates for the job after a few rounds of filtering. Chu Xia was going but not Li Runs. According to Mr. Smart Guy, he liked Han Yi purely out of admiration. He was not a fan and did not want to meet her. If he had the time, he would rather spend it on coding. He even said that a new programming language had just been introduced in other countries and those codes looked as beautiful as an art piece. Su Yang did not understand a word he said, but he got a rough idea. Mr. Smart Guy here was destined to be alone forever. His partner would be programming codes instead of a girl. He would probably eat with the codes, sleep with the codes, and make the codes give birth to many smaller codes. Su Yang even named the little codes on behalf of him, Li Br, Li Div, Li Table, and so on. Although Li Runs was not going, Su Yang had to attend the event. This was a big job, and if anything went wrong, Su Yang would cry himself to death. On the other hand, Junqing Intermediary also informed Su Yang about the job details. Han Yi was in Shanghai for the recording of a television show called the Ace Variety Show. The producers of the show had reserved 100 seats for Han Yi's fans, and for the sake of the show and Han Yi's safety, fake fans were needed. The fake fans were required to applaud when Han Yi spoke, and if she participated in the activities on the show, the fake fans must chant her name at least 8 times and there should no less than 5 placard signs of Han Yi's name. Su Yang informed the fans that he gathered about the requirements, supporting it with the reason that it was a sign of a fan supporting their idol. All the fans agreed to chant and applaud, and those who did not were immediately disqualified. Saturday arrived in the blink of an eye. Su Yang rented 3 big buses to carry himself, Chu Xia, and 98 fans to march towards Shanghai TV station. Chapter 58. Chu Xia's Dream. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After going through a little traffic on the way, Su Yang and the rest arrived at Shanghai TV station half an hour earlier. With Chu Xia, who was experienced in organizing a big-scale event, Su Yang and the rest of the fans lined up neatly in front of the entrance of the TV station, waiting for someone from Han Yi's side to bring them in. Su Yang also gave Wang Dong a call to inform him about their safe arrival. Since it was Saturday, Su Yang did not force Wang Dong to join this event. Instead, he told Wang Dong to provide support behind the scenes. Wang Dong had worked a full day last Saturday after all. Less than 5 minutes after Su Yang hung up the phone, a fair, chubby man walked out from the TV station and came up to him and the fans. The man looked around before he locked his gaze on Su Yang. Su Yang believed the man was the one he should talk to, so he walked up. The fat man put his hand out to shake. President Su, am I right? Su Yang nodded and shook the man's hand. Yes, I'm Su Yang. You are. The man's smile made him look jolly. I'm Li Weilian, but you can just call me William. I'm Han Yi's manager. Su Yang was surprised. So, he's Han Yi's manager. But why is a common-looking guy naming himself William? It feels off. What's wrong with Chinese? Why must you name yourself an English name like William? William Li then brought Su Yang and the fans into the TV station. After he led them through security, he brought them to the broadcast studio. Along the way, William Li saw how obedient Su Yang's team was. They practically listened to every order without fail, hence the man smiled so joyfully to the point that his eyes almost curled up into two crescents. I knew I should have relied on a professional team. They are reliable and they really save me a lot of worries. When Su Yang heard what the man said, he felt that something was not right, so he asked by instinct, have you guys run into problems before this? William Li shook his head and sighed. Last month, Han Yi was invited to some show recording and the show producer gave us some tickets. I contacted the president of the fan club in that province and told him to distribute the tickets to the fans, but, in the end, 2 fanatic fans jumped on stage in the middle of recording and caused a lot of problems. They almost ruined the show. After that, the recording took a half an hour break and security took the 2 crazy fans away. Han Yi was so shocked then. From that day onwards, I swore to never invite real fans to a recording. Other than the fan clubs of some provinces that I trust, I really daren't risk it again. What if something bad happens? Su Yang nodded with realization beside William Li. No wonder a second-tier actress needs fake fans at an event. Then, William Li thought of something. He looked around sleazily and whispered to Su Yang, you have to keep this a secret from her. Han Yi doesn't know about this. She hates it when things are fake. She said she was fine after the previous incident, so I did this without her knowing. William Li then added, of course, you must also keep it a secret from the public. Su Yang nodded. Don't sweat it. We've signed a confidentiality agreement. The truth was, they did not sign **T. Su Yang actually found real fans of Han Yi, not fake ones. When they arrived at the broadcast studio, Su Yang realized that the stage for the variety show was huge and the studio could house at least 700 to 800 people without a problem. William Li brought them to the center of the audience seats. It seemed like Han Yi was one of the most popular, if not the most popular, guests on this episode of the variety show. After the fans were seated, Su Yang went according to plan and told them to bring out the banners and mini neon signs with Han Yi's name on it. He had actually coordinated with the fans beforehand. The fans would pass the banners and signages around every half an hour so that it would not be too tiresome for the few of them and they could also enjoy the show and admire Han Yi. The fan group was very pleased with this arrangement. A few of the girls who were sitting closer to Su Yang started to talk among themselves excitedly. I didn't know we were coming to the Ace Variety Show. This show is very popular. I know. Plus, the seats are great. We can see the stage and even have got a clear look at where Han Yi will be sitting. Su Yang is amazing. I agree. How did he get this gig? I thought we were going to the airport to welcome her. I didn't think that much about it. I thought we were just cheering for Han Yi. Su Yang is awesome. Su Yang heard whatever the girls were saying. He believed this job was already in the bag. All he needed to do was pay attention to the fans and stop them if they overreacted to the show or Han Yi. Besides Su Yang, Chu Xia also heard the girls. She nudged Su Yang slightly with her elbow and teased, "Look at you now, Mr. Big Star, having your first batch of admirers." Su Yang rolled his eyes at her. "Give me a break. What kind of star am I? The actual stars are on stage today. Chu Xia wore an oversized red T-dot shirt that covered her tiny petite butt and extended all the way to her knees, making her fair and long legs stand out even more. Of course, it also made her look like she did not wear any skirt or pants inside. Su Yang sized her up from her legs to her face. Other than a slightly flat chest, Chu Xia's delicate facial features and her slender body were comparable to that of an actress's. Especially when Su Yang compared her to when he had run into Lin Jia a few days ago. Chu Xia's age might be younger, hence her unique presence had yet to show, but her physical qualities were a lot better than Lin Jia's. The thought flashed in his mind before he added, "You're the one who looks like a star." Chu Xia made a silly face at him. "I'm not interested. Everyone tells me to be an actress or a singer. Do you people want to gossip about me so badly?" Su Yang chuckled. She always saved an awkward conversation with her quips and rounded it off perfectly. Looking at the stage, Chu Xia said, "My dream is to be a writer. One day, I will be on that stage not as an actress but as a writer." Yeah, Ms. Beautiful Writer." Su Yang nodded. Chu Xia smacked him gently and said, "Beauty isn't necessary. I will just be a writer. Without any suffixes or prefixes." Su Yang shrugged. Having a dream to work towards was a good thing since dreams were not meant to come true. While the two of them were chatting, more and more people came into the studio, and soon, the seats were filled. Su Yang scanned around. The audience consisted of many different people. Some were fans, some were random passers-by while some were staff of the show. How did he know? The staff was wearing a working pass around their necks. After a while, the recording started. An MC stepped onto the stage, but Su Yang did not recognize him. Judging from the crowd's reaction and the heavy discussion from behind him, Su Yang believed this MC might be popular. After the MC greeted the camera and the crowd and warmed up the atmosphere, he started to introduce the guests. The first one he invited was Han Yi. When he saw Han Yi with his own eyes, Su Yang finally understood why everyone gushed about her beauty. Her tall nose resembled a Westerner's while her deep eye sockets made her big, round eyes appear full of energy. With that delicate and petite face, she emanated an exotic presence and was as beautiful as a deity from the heavens. She was wearing a red sports jersey sponsored by the show. She looked extra lively and energetic that made her look strong, but with that delicate face of hers, she looked real and straightforward. Her authentic presence easily attracted fondness from everyone. After all, men were visual animals. Then, two more guests were invited, though Su Yang knew none of them. However, some members of the audience would applaud and cheer loudly. They were probably the fans of those two guests, and as for whether they were real fans or fake ones, it was up to one's guess. While Su Yang was slightly carried away, the MC announced, "Next, can we have the main actress who plays Su Su in Carrot Love, Lin Jia, on stage?" Su Yang shuddered. What? The F. Lin Jia is here as well. Chapter 59. You guys acted really well. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Yang sat up straight and switched his attention to the stage. Following the MC's introduction, a familiar figure walked out from backstage. With the same wavy hair from the other day, Lin Jiali came out in a similar red sports jersey. Judging from the color, she must be on the same team as Han Yi. When she came on stage, Lin Jiali proactively shook all the hands of the guests and even hugged Han Yi. The two of them smiled joyfully during the hug, seeming really close. The MC took the initiative and said, "Lil Yi and Jiejia were partners back in Carrot Love, am I right? I bet it has been a while since you saw each other." Han Yi said with a smile, "Yeah, it's been a while. We've been busy in the past year." Lin Jiali also nodded and she even held Han Yi's hand. "Yeah, I haven't seen Lil Yi for a long time. We're finally able to get together again at Ace Variety today. Are the two of them close?" Su Yang suspected that he might have overreacted a few days ago. The show finally started, and Su Yang also focused his attention on the stage since there were two rather interesting ladies on stage. Chu Xia also noticed the difference in Su Yang's reaction. She looked a squint at him and said, "Are you interested in Lin Jiao?" Su Yang gave her a strange look. "Why say so? Right after she came on stage, you seem a lot more interested," she said. Su Yang awkwardly cleared his throat and did not answer. Of course, he would never tell Chu Xia that he was just looking forward to a catfight. Chu Xia glanced over at his face and took his silence for agreement. As the variety show progressed on, Han Yi and Lin Jiali performed quite well. They even occasionally showed off their bond that appeared as tight as sisters during the games. For example, when Lin Jiali got the answer wrong and was punished by a splash of water, Han Yi would step up quickly and take it for her. Another time, when Han Yi failed the mission and a pot was falling down toward her head, Lin Jiali also subtly blocked it for her. Su Yang's fan group performed outstandingly throughout the show as well. With Chu Xia as the leader, whenever Han Yi participated in any activities on stage, the group of fans would applaud loudly or chant her name together. The mini neon signages and banners were raised up the whole time. In short, the fans' overall performance easily suppressed the fans of the other actresses. Maybe because of conformity, when a single person was cheering for their idol on stage, he or she looked weak. In contrast, when a group of people did the same thing together, especially cheering for their favorite idol on stage, everyone seemed extra lively and energetic. Su Yang believed that the fans enjoyed the show as well. Soon enough, the show recording ended and the actresses went backstage. The fans were joyfully discussing their experience with the show, and a lot of them said that they would show off in their friend circle. After all, they had just participated in a live recording of a popular variety show and had seen their favorite idol on stage. Furthermore, they probably had the best seats in the house. Some smarter fans even came up to Su Yang and asked him to call them for the next event or anything similar. Some even confessed that they would attend the next time even if it was not for Han Yi. In short, everyone wanted Su Yang to call them for the next similar event. Su Yang nodded to all of them since nodding was free and he might be able to get another chance in the future. Who knew? While everyone was chatting happily and were ready to leave the studio, Han Yi's manager ran over in a hurry. He was sweating profusely when he got to Su Yang and dragged him aside. "President Su, something's come up." Su Yang's heart skipped a beat. "Is my plan flawed?" he asked. "What's wrong?" William Li said, "Han Yi wants to see you guys." Su Yang heaved a breath of relief in his heart. "See us." William Li wiped the sweat off his forehead and said, "Yes, she wants to meet you guys. Can you grab 4 to 5 representatives and follow me to her room? You must come as well." Before Su Yang could respond, William Li added, "I know this is an extra job, so I'll pay each of the 5 representatives an extra 100 yuan. Su Yang put his hand out. "Deal. Only an idiot wouldn't want to earn extra money. But you'd better make sure to stay undercover. Things will go south if Han Yi notices." William Li whispered to Su Yang. Su Yang patted his chest and asserted, "Take it easy. I'm here. Even if the cops come, they won't know that these fans are fakes. They are all professionals." Of course, no one would know they are fakes since they are all real fans of Han Yi's. Su Yang recalled the names of several fans whom he had spotted were rather enthusiastic while chanting and applauding earlier. He then called them out by their names: Chuan, Lu Yi, Wang Pei, Zhang Yujiao. A little pause later, he added another name, and, "Chu Xia, can you please come over for a while?" Su Yang then told the rest of the fans, all the group leaders, "Bring your group back to the bus first. We will be back soon." The group leaders answered one after another. After the 5 girls were called out, Su Yang quickly briefed them about what would happen. When they heard that Han Yi wanted to see them, everyone was over the moon, especially Chu Xia. The girl was exalted. She was so excited that she hopped like a rabbit on drugs while tugging Su Yang's arm. The six of them followed William Li to a waiting room backstage. As soon as William Li knocked, a clear voice came from behind the door, "Come in." He opened the door and said, "Lil Yi, I've brought the fan representatives over." Su Yang and the girls walked into the waiting room. The room was not big by any means, and Han Yi was sitting in front of the mirror while eating something. When she heard that the fans were here, she quickly turned around with her mouth stuffed with food. Maybe because she was embarrassed or maybe she was nervous, her face turned red as she said with a muffled voice, Please hold on for a moment. I'm so sorry." She grabbed a bottle of water and gulped it down. She patted her chest to help the rice go down before grabbing a wet tissue nervously to wipe her mouth. She then went over and said with the sweetest smile, "Hi, everyone, I'm Han Yi." The moment Su Yang brought the girls into the waiting room, some of them were already barely holding on. Their bodies were trembling excitedly, and when they heard Han Yi greet them sweetly, they were probably even over Mars. Han Yi. It's really her. Oh my gosh. Am I dreaming? Pinch me. Quick. Even Chu Xia was very excited and her hands were shaking ceaselessly. Han Yi smiled and shook everyone's hands. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. It's because of your support that I am where I am today and can continue further. When it was Su Yang's turn to shake hands, William Li added a little introduction, "This is the fan group leader, Su Yang." Han Yi sized Su Yang up seriously for a few seconds before she shook his hands the longest. Thank you very much." Su Yang quickly feigned a nervous and bashful look. Next, Han Yi took a photo with each and every one of them and even gave them her autograph. Everyone also got a little present before William Li sent them off. Han Yi said that she still had some discussion with the producers of the show. The six of them and William Li walked out of the waiting room. Su Yang sent the five of them ahead while he added William Li on WeChat. Immediately, William Li transferred the payment for this extra job. During the transfer, William Li patted Su Yang's shoulder strongly and whispered, "President Su, your company's part-timers are really awesome. Their acting is great. If I didn't know they were fakes, I might have believed that they are real fans." Su Yang chuckled without a reply. Yeah, I know, right? After he parted ways with William Li, Su Yang got on the bus and felt like he could finally heave a breath of relief. The job with the biggest profit margin was over and he could finally take the load off his mind. He should head back and add his points later. Right when the thought popped in his mind, his phone vibrated. He took it out for a look and saw a WeChat message from Lin Jieli. Chapter 60. Income Summary. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Yang was also smart enough not to message her, only to ask for a snub. When he saw her on stage that day, he was already quite surprised as he did not expect the coincidence at all. He never thought that after the show recording was over, Lin Jieli would message him first. Did she spot me in the audience? Su Yang pondered about it and he realized that it was highly unlikely. The stage was actually at the bottom of the audience, so looking up at the audience from the stage would be rather tiring. On top of that, in order to coordinate with the fans during the applause and chants, he and Chu Xia had sat in the middle of the crowd. Spotting a familiar face in a crowd of a few hundred people required exceptional eyesight, let alone Su Yang whom she had met only once. With that in mind, Su Yang tapped on the message. Lin Jieli had sent him a sticker of a toy bear knocking its head on the wall repeatedly, and under the sticker was her message. "I think I'm autistic." Su Yang replied with a simple question mark. "Autistic? How so? Weren't you all jolly and lively on stage just now?" Lin Jieli replied. "I got to work today and saw a friend that I haven't seen for a long time." Su Yang replied. And then? Lin Jili replied. How should I put this? I guess we were colleagues once. We worked on a project together. After that, Lin Jili took a long while before sending the following message. I was supposed to be the person in charge of that project, but when the project was announced, everyone credited her instead of me. It wasn't exactly a good feeling for me. Then, Lin Jili sent in another sticker of a soaked kitten with a few words at the bottom. Can't breathe from all the grievance. Su Yang was already on the way back and was sitting in the last row of the bus when he read the message. He replied. How's your colleague like? Lin Jili sent a dumb-looking sticker together with her message. She's okay. She's nice and straightforward. Su Yang replied. Then, how about you? Lin Jili replied. I'm fine. After a while, she replied. It's just that seeing her again makes me feel sour. Maybe this is jealousy. Su Yang believed that Lin Jili was quite a down-to-earth girl since she was able to admit that she was jealous. In showbiz, nothing was right or wrong. No one knew who would gain popularity overnight, and maybe the popularity would spread throughout the country the following day. It was a vicissitude of life. Was it not why the entertainment industry was so captivating? Tremendous fame equaled tremendous income, and it might take one a few short months to achieve it. Therefore, after a long, hard thought about it, Su Yang replied. It's just the way it is. If it were me, I wouldn't feel good either, but I believe you can do it. Lin Jili did not reply after that. Maybe she was busy or was done venting her emotions. Su Yang did not care either since he was not a chatterbox. Compared to talking to people, he enjoyed his personal quiet time more. Maybe this was the reason why he clicked with Mr. Smart Guy, Li Runs. After the buses reached the campus, Su Yang did a head count and everyone was accounted for. He then paid the drivers the rest of the payment for the bus rental before heading home himself. When he reached home, Su Yang headed straight to the virtual space on his phone. After a little more than half a week, he had moved his personal stuff into the space. Now, whenever he came back, the first thing he did was put his phone into the drawer and then jump into the virtual space. The villa in the virtual space was bigger, grander, and much safer. No matter what, no one would ever find out about the strange things he got from adding points or whatever he wanted to add points to. The rabbit with wings that he had gotten from adding points was set free in the villa. It flapped its wings and flew around the villa happily, and Dini had adopted it as a pet. Dini really loved the flying rabbit because only she and the rabbit could fly around in the villa. As for the table the size of a thumb, it was given to Gru. Su Yang even bought a tiny set of tableware for it. It came with a bowl, chopsticks, a glass, and a spoon. Gru had been quite free lately. It sat at a corner of the room and murmured its name repeatedly as it extended its sprout and played around with the tableware. Meanwhile, Little Hus was really naughty at times. It soaked itself in water and then shook its body beside Gru, making Gru and its tableware all wet and dirty. Whenever Little Hus bullied Gru, the war between tree and dog would break out. The book, The Modern History Essentials of Huaxia, that was blown up had been stolen by Little Hus. It would put the huge book on itself every night before it slept as it claimed that the pressure from the book would make it slimmer. However, Su Yang did notice Little Hus getting slimmer lately. When he went into the virtual space, Su Yang picked up the pen and paper on the tea table beside the sofa and started to do some accounting. Han Yi's event required 100 people to be present, 90 of whom were actually real fans, so they were not paid to be there. The remaining 10 were his long-time part-timers, so everyone was paid 150 yuan for the event, which added up to 15,000 yuan. The bus rental fee was 700 yuan for 5 hours and the driver cost 300 yuan, so all 3 buses and drivers added up to 3,000 yuan. That was his total cost. Junqing Intermediary offered 175 yuan per head, which added up to 17,500 yuan for 100 of them. After deducting 1,500 yuan for wages and 3,000 yuan for transport, his net profit was 13,000 yuan. This was how much Su Yang made after hustling for almost a day. In the last semester, he had worked hard, yet he only saved up 5,000 yuan a month. This event alone had earned him 13,000 yuan, and it was not even a full day's work. Su Yang was quite proud of his achievement. If the company could maintain its job flow and develop properly, it would soon be on track. Although a profitable job like Han Yi's event was not common, the other kind of jobs would be the main source of a steady income, and as his business developed and expanded, his income would also surge. However, Su Yang did not have the mood to care about his company at the moment. He just wanted to add points. When he added points to his phone and got Dini, he had one random point left and got another by helping Lin Jieli. He was quite busy after saving Lin Jieli, so he barely had time to rest, let alone to add points. Now with the job struck off his list, he could finally catch a breath and return to adding his points. Su Yang had been adding points blindly and mindlessly before this, but now with Little Huss around, he could choose to make his points count. He grabbed the lively Little Huss in his hand and said with a grin, "Little Huss, help me out. Use your nose and tell me which item has the best scent." Little Huss sniffed around and gave Su Yang a death stare. "Did you eat KFC in the afternoon?" Su Yang blushed slightly and knocked Little Huss on its husky head. "It's none of your business." Little Huss endured the pain and bared its teeth at him. "Su Yang, you've changed. You were a thrifty person before this, but now, you are corrupted by capitalism." Su Yang was rendered speechless. "I made a lot of money. What's wrong with rewarding myself a little?" Little Huss pouted. "I want rewards too. I want dog food." "Go away. You don't even have a mouth," Su Yang said. "I don't care. I want dog food," argued Little Huss. Su Yang took a step back. "Even if I bought you dog food, you can't eat it." "I don't care. I want it nevertheless. If you don't buy me dog food, I won't sniff anything out for you." In surrender, Su Yang squeezed the words out of his tightly clenched teeth, "Gur, fine. I'll buy it.